Beyond the Game. Brought to you by Turkish Airlines.
I think everyone's still in recovery mode from an absolutely memorable sporting weekend, but strap yourselves in. There's not a lot of turnaround time. We're in for another very busy sporting week ahead. We'll analyze all the big talking points over the course of the next 30 minutes. Hello there, I'm Robin Adams. This is Beyond the Game. It is good to have you along. We are coming to you from breathtaking Cappadocia in the central Anatolian region of Turkey. This is hot air balloon capital, but there's been a bit of a takeover. Thousands of avid trail runners from all across the globe have descended on the region for the 2019 Ultra Trail Marathon in Cappadocia. Three rather challenging events, the 119 kilometers, the 63 and 38 kilometer races, and the races attracted all sorts.
This race is really good, and the sponsor is Solomon, and I think it's my 7th ultra trail, but I think it's the best ultra trail that I've ever registered. And this is my 2nd ultra trail. It's going to be my 2nd ultra trail. It's running in heaven. It's really so unique. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, I feel very well, and I hope I'm finisher to the race. It's a very good place. Cappadocia is very good and beautiful place.
Well, the race has taken some of the region's picturesque sites, and the elevation on the respective courses is a real challenge. To try this on for size, for the 119 kilometer race, the elevation is in excess of 3,700 meters. Wow! Quite a workout for any set of lungs. The calves are properly tested as well. No, Yannick of France was the winner in this year's 119 kilometer race in a time of 11 hours, 12 minutes and 7 seconds. His closest challenger crossed the finish line 20 minutes later. The Cappadocia Ultra Trail has enjoyed remarkable growth in its 6 years. The organizers are pretty pleased.
Well, actually, the growth is in last 6 years is really huge. First year we start with 180 runners, and this year we have 2,650 registrants, and which is of course something really special for Turkey and for Cappadocia.
What is it that makes the race so popular then?
Cappadocia and good race, because our crew is really dedicated to this race and they love this race, and that's why I believe, from my point of view, because I've been sports organizer for the last 20 years, this is something. This is really good, and people love it, and people love Cappadocia, and it became the World Tour race, one of the World Tour races in 3 years, and I think these are and what Cappadocia serves people. These are the reasons.
And then there were 4. The semi-final lineup at the Rugby World Cup is now complete. The All Blacks still on course to make it 3 in a row. They take on Eddie Jones's side, England, hoping for their part to get their hands on the Webb Ellis Trophy for the first time since 2003. The Springboks take on Wales in the other semi-final.
If you were to write down your 4 semi-finalists for the Rugby World Cup 6 months ago, this most likely would have been the final 4. New Zealand up against England, Wales up against South Africa. Both clashes are steeped in rugby history. Both matches have the potential to be something special. Because when you look at the style of play of both of these sides, each side has the game to beat the other. Each side has the ability to take out the World Cup. England's win over Australia in the quarter-final was as much about ability as it was commitment, patience and the ability to suffocate some of the world's most devastating ball runners. But in the eyes of Captain Owen Farrell, there's more to come.
This was a good performance, but we don't feel like we're at our best yet. We're going to have a look at what we can do to make sure we're getting towards our best next week, because we're going to have to probably be better. So we're looking forward to working that out.
Their prize for beating a 2-time World Cup winning side, a chance to beat a 3-time World Cup winning side. New Zealand's all-conquering All Blacks utterly dismantled Ireland. Within minutes of the opening try, the Irish knew it wasn't their night. With the All Blacks and Beauden Barrett saving their best for the knockout matches, it will take something special for the English to hold them out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing them too, now that we've earned the right to. They'll be a massive challenge, you know, but I don't think tonight's the night for us to be talking about that. I think, you know, we've got a formula that we work to. You know, test matches are hard work, you know, from Sunday to Saturday, and you've got to take a wee bit of time to step off the merry-go-round and relax. And we'll do that. We'll enjoy our moment. It was a special test match, one that the All Blacks can be proud of and New Zealanders can be proud of, particularly the players themselves can be proud of. And, you know, we won't think about England until tomorrow. So there's not much point me giving you a team talk about them just at the moment because they're not even on my mind.
Hansen may well be proud, but with Eddie Jones pulling the strings for the English, it's a battle of the two best coaches in the world rugby, attempting to find a way to outsmart the other. So while England and New Zealand attempt to outthink each other, the other semi-final is more of a case of outlasting the other. South Africa broke the hearts of rugby romantics when they knocked Japan out of this Rugby World Cup at the quarter-final stage, but a semi-final was the minimum requirement for this Springbok squad. While they may not have the silky skills of New Zealand, they know how to control the match, and up against a Welsh side who know how to defend, it could be a war of attrition to book a place in the final.
They've got a great coaching staff, and the thing about them, I think they've created a squad. If you look at them, I think when they toured Argentina last year, or the year before that, where they took almost a B side or a second string side over there, and they gave them a whitewash there. So I think they've created depth in every single position, and yeah, I think they've got good confidence, great team spirit, and we know how great the rugby culture is in Wales. So, no, a big challenge for us. And whenever I've coached for Munster against any Welsh team, it was never an easy game.
Semi-finals aren't meant to be easy, but with just Wales the only side left not to have won a World Cup, the quality of rugby will pick up again. And with such an evenly poised Final Four, anyone has the ability to take the trophy.
Well, it is the end of the road for Japan. The host nation had been tugging at the heartstrings of all of the rugby fans since the tournament began. Here's Mayu Yoshida with more on Japan's fairy tale run at the tournament.
Japan's surprising run at the Rugby World Cup coming to an end. The Brave Blossoms losing to South Africa 26-3 on Sunday. The Springboks were simply too overpowering for the host nation this time. Nevertheless, local fans here have nothing but praise for their team after making it to the first ever Rugby World Cup knockout stage, beating the likes of traditional powerhouses like Ireland and Scotland along the way.
They have played well. We played equally with the world. It was great.
Coming into the World Cup, though, there were concerns whether the people in Japan would be excited about rugby, given that it's still dwarfed in popularity compared to baseball and soccer. But TV ratings suggest that half of the Japanese population were watching Japan's recent matches. And at their post-match conference held on Monday, players said they were very proud of creating a new fan base here in Japan.
As there's been a huge increase in Japanese rugby fans, we hope to continue to show an enthusiastic game to Japanese fans again.
Now, the Brave Blossoms also meant a lot for the people here, even off the pitch. Remember, during the tournament, Japan was hit by the worst typhoon in decades, killing dozens of people here in Japan. Victims and those affected by the typhoon posting on social media, saying that watching their national team provided them emotional support. Also, the composition of the Japanese team made a lasting impression, reflecting more diversity in the country. About half of the team members were born in other countries, so they help prove how people with different backgrounds and cultures can bring in new opportunities for an insular but changing nation. In that sense, it was a big success for the organizers, as hosting this World Cup, the first ever in Asia, helped spread the popularity of rugby even beyond traditional rugby nations. Of course, the tournament is not over, with the final game taking place on November 2nd.
Basketball fans, get ready. The NBA season is nearly upon us, and it does promise to be a thrilling one. That's because a host of big-name stars have traded teams in the off-season.
The few months since Kawhi Leonard and the Toronto Raptors dethroned the Golden State Warriors,
Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs,
have been practically unprecedented for the NBA. Almost every team in the league went through a roster makeover, something you don't see every offseason. Meanwhile, the biggest talking point ahead of Tuesday's tip-off of the new season isn't about familiar faces in new places. It isn't about how Giannis Antetokounmpo could finally get Milwaukee over the line,
tapped it out to knock Zion, rips it,
or even how Zion Williamson is expected to be the second coming of LeBron James. But it'll be how a tweet from Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey affected the NBA's relationship with a whopping 500 million fans in China, and how the league supported his right to free speech.
Are you willing to absorb the possible loss that may come, financial loss that may come from this support?
Not only willing, but we are. The losses have already been substantial. Our games are not back on the air in China as we speak, and we'll see what happens next.
What happens next is the NBA moves on and keeps on giving fans the best basketball in the world. Now, despite the Rockets having trouble off the court, on the court it's looking better than ever after Houston teamed up last year's scoring king James Harden with 2017 MVP Russell Westbrook.
He brings obviously his skill set, the way he pushes the basketball, the way he's able to finish, the way he's able to make plays. It's a different dynamic than we've had since I've been here in Houston. Just his speed, his ability to get to the rim and create so much attention and kick out for shot opportunities for his teammates.
The Brooklyn Nets took a shot of their own by signing Kevin Durant away from the Warriors and pairing him with Kyrie Irving. But a ruptured Achilles tendon left over from June means the New York side won't be reaping the benefits of having a two-time NBA Finals MVP on their side just yet.
There isn't going to be any pressure from any of us at any time, and I will make sure of that because I've been in that same position of being the guy that's injured on the team and everyone looking like, are you going to come back anytime soon?
Even though the absence of Durant will sting for the Dubs, Steph Curry says they're determined to keep their legacy going.
There's an opportunity for somebody to step up in that role in terms of filling the gaps on the court from Nexus to Noah's standpoint and helping us be successful and win games. And we'll develop the chemistry and that locker room presence that's needed.
So in short, all 30 teams are set to go to war for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But the two sides from Los Angeles are looking more combat ready than the rest. And with both the Clippers and Lakers spearheaded by talent considered some of the best of their generation, the main attraction for the 2019-2020 season is more than likely to be the battle for LA.
So the championship chase is pretty wide open this season. The Lakers and the Clippers both had great off seasons, and the expectation is that the title is destined for Los Angeles. Jessica King has been gauging fan reaction.
On the opening night of the season, the Clippers' new dynamic duo of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard will challenge Lakers stars LeBron James and Anthony Davis in the battle for LA. Both teams also expected to contend for a championship this season. While this may not have been a true rivalry in the past, it certainly is now, with brand new star signings on both sides.
The whole competition is going to be who rules LA, because it's been the Lakers been dominating for years and years. The Clippers have always been an afterthought, but now they got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, two superstars. That's going to be a very dangerous team.
The Lakers got the best team in the NBA with the bench, included. But I think the Clippers, they have a great chance of rebuilding their team. They have a good foundation to rebuild their team, so I think it's going to be a great season. I'm excited.
We're definitely taking over LA this year.
Absolutely not. I mean, this will and always will be a Lakers town. As you see, the Clippers are thinking about getting a new facility for them outside of LA, and that's because this will forever be Lakers' home. So, yeah.
Just because it's Laker town, it's Clipper Nation.
The game doesn't have a clear favourite, but both teams want the victory for their own reasons. The Clippers owner, Steve Ballmer, says he's giving his team everything it needs to succeed, and after signing last year's finals most valuable player Kawhi Leonard, they're in a strong starting position. The Lakers lost out in their bid to sign Kawhi, which will of course fuel this rivalry even further. But LA is still predominantly a Lakers town, and support for them runs deep here with generations of fans. Well, for basketball fanatics, the Staples Center is going to be the place to be. They can watch the Clippers one night and the Lakers the next. It's going to be a season to remember. Jessica King for Beyond the Game in Los Angeles.
Liverpool have had their lead at the top of the Premier League trimmed to just 6 points, and that's after a 1-1 draw with Manchester United at the weekend. But the Reds will have to regroup very quickly. There's the small matter of a Champions League title defence. Jurgen Klopp's side travelled to Belgian champions Genk on Wednesday. They are 1 point behind Group E leaders Napoli. They take on Salzburg. Dortmund and Barcelona on the road for their respective Group F assignments. In Group G, we have RB Leipzig. They take on Zenit St. Petersburg, and Benfica face Lyon. Ajax, Chelsea, that promises to be a goodie in Group H, while Lille hosts Spanish club Valencia. But of course, all of the attention this week will centre around the competition's defending champions, Liverpool.
Yes, not the result we expected from Old Trafford. Manchester United just minutes away from what would have been a shock victory over Liverpool. And for much of the match, Manchester United actually dominated. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be delighted with his players. He seemed to have got his tactics right for this one. That wide back five, really stifling Liverpool's attacking threat, particularly down the flanks. Liverpool, of course, were missing Mohamed Salah, and you could really tell they were missing one of their talismen. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer really will now hope that that result can be the catalyst to turn United's season around. So disappointing so far this season, but against their biggest rivals, United really rose to the challenge and for much of the match actually dominated proceedings. In the end, Adam Lallana snuck in at the back post to get that late crucial equaliser for Liverpool, and for them really they'll be quite glad to have come away from the match with a point. They didn't play well for large periods of the game. Jurgen Klopp's side really lacking the fluidity we normally associate with them. And he'll be happy because every point counts, particularly when you're going for a league title. They often say a title-winning side can pick up points when playing badly. Well, Liverpool certainly did that. They did turn things around in the second half. The final 15 to 20 minutes, they really started to apply the pressure. But I think overall, both sides really will be quite satisfied with a point.
And for us, United is obviously a place. So there are worse things than getting a point here, to be honest. Some teams will lose here 100%. They will find back on track and all that stuff. When all the players are back, that's a real force. So, yeah, we never thought about 17 games. During the 17 games, we will not start thinking now about the one really who we lost, which we lost. We spoke about that game now already because we play on Wednesday. Right? We expect much more from ourselves. The result is the result of the performance, and we could have won today, but it's not that we were like. We were really unlucky that we didn't win. We have to play better football. Then we deserve more to win a game. If you deserve it more, it's more likely that you do it. And today it was just, we deserved a point and could have won. But that's not enough at United.
And it doesn't stop there for Liverpool. They've got an away trip to Genk coming up. Tough opposition away from home, and Liverpool, of course, lost their opening Champions League match away from home at Napoli. They won't want to slip up again, especially if they're going to go on and defend that European title. Genk have got plenty of threats, and Liverpool will have to have their A game about them if they're going to get a result over there. And after that, they've got Tottenham in the league and Arsenal in the cup. So it doesn't get any easier for Jurgen Klopp's side, particularly if they're going to go for challenging on all domestic fronts and European. The games come thick and fast, and we'll certainly find out whether his squad's got the depth to cope with it.
Kumar Sangakkara is regarded as the greatest batsman of all time, but the Sri Lankan great will be taking up a new post, and that's the office of the president of the MCC, the most famous and respected cricket club in the world. He's the first non-British person to hold that post in the club's 232-year history, and he's been talking to Matt Goodrick about his plans for the job.
Yes, I'm very proud. I'm very privileged and also humbled. Anthony Reeford, who was my predecessor, nominated my name. We had a long conversation about what it entails. So it took a couple of weeks to really mull it over before I committed to it. It's a wonderful cricket club, the best cricket club in the world, no doubt. The spiritual home of cricket in terms of being the guardians of the laws and the spirit of the game. but also in terms of leaving a legacy of cricket around the world, because the MCC, being a cricket club, plays over 480 games a year, some of them here in the British Isles, but also beyond its shores in Nepal with the legacy tours, in Afghanistan with the Afghan Connection, and in Sri Lanka with the MCC Centre of Excellence in Sinigama, which is just before Galle. And I've seen the wonderful work they've done over the years, and it's great to be in this position.
Yeah, the MCC, as you say, is the most historic cricket club in the world, but how relevant is it in the modern world?
I think it actually keeps getting stronger and in terms of relevance, because if you watch that World Cup final between New Zealand and England, and if anyone believed that the term spirit of cricket is a lot of hot air and has no relevance in professional modern day sport, you will always do a rethink and a U-turn, because the spirit in which those two teams played is very hard for New Zealand to palate that loss. But the way they carried themselves, the way they were able to take that, that roller coaster ride of emotional highs and lows, and still be able to smile through it and understand that they've just been part of a historic event. I think what the MCC stands for, was brought into the spotlight, and everyone felt so connected through that to cricket. MCC will remain to be that light on the hill that really guides cricketers in times of, at times like that.
Of course, many people believe that India dominates the running of the game, maybe a bit too much these days. What's your view on that?
Well, India does bring in, well over 75% to 80% of revenue when it comes to cricket, especially the size of its market. So a lot of the teams around the world want to play India, and you can't fault teams around the world for that, because, revenue is built on TV rights. At the same time, I think the ICC, home boards around the world, MCC and all other cricketing institutions need to work together to better the health of the game, especially when it comes to Test cricket. We've launched the World Championship for Test cricket. We need to really own it, the ICC as well, to really market it and build up these heroes that we see in terms of T20 cricket and one-day cricket. We need to bring it into Test cricket. Also in terms of younger fans, to really help children connect with the game, because, a lot of us that fall in love with sport, when we're adults, we look back and we can trace the moment we fell in love to moments watching a game on the village green or a test pitch, but sharing those experiences with family and friends. So I think everyone can do more in that context.
And picking up on that, we saw, just this summer, didn't we, the power of cricket to kind of engage communities, young and old. How does the sport kind of capitalise on that right now?
Well, I think that the time to capitalize is now. You can't take 4 months since the World Cup final and then try to decide, okay, what are we going to do with that? Because, you've got a small window of opportunity here before people kind of then try to move on. I was there at the Bangladesh-Pakistan game at Lord's, and there were children who were allowed into the member stand at Lord's, and it just changed the entire atmosphere. It became this vibrant area to sit and watch the game. And I think that is how we actually bring more fans to the game and take cricket to the masses. In the UK, less than 1% of state school children play sport. They need to be given more opportunities. So the MCC hubs, through the MCC Foundation, is trying to do just that. We now have girls-only hubs as well, so we have lots of young boys and girls taking to the sport. I think the England team needs to make those connections as well. The World Cup winning team, take them to the schools, have them talk to children face-to-face, classrooms, have those conversations, look them in the eye, and inspire them to kind of take up not just cricket, any sport, because it is such an important and integral part of having a healthy life, of growing up well, and also in terms of discipline and focus, so that a lot of the pitfalls of modern life, I think with that disciplinary structure, that focus on something wholesome, can probably be avoided.
And just finally, over the next 12 months, you have this role. What are your main goals for it?
Well, I think, again, it's along those same lines. Work with children, communities, through MCC and its foundation here in England, connect them more strongly to the game. You can widen the talent pool with engaging a lot of the South Asian community into cricket. You can have MCC and Lord's continue to be a nurturing ground for the lesser test playing countries in terms of Ireland, into Afghanistan, legacy tours in Afghanistan and Nepal. There's so much that can be done, and especially in the women's game, we've had exponential growth. And MCC was the first club in the world to actually pay women as professional cricketers, to actually continue that, have pathways that allow young girls to take up the sport, but also reach the pinnacle of it, is very, very important.
Finally, what's it like to be around Lords again?
Right.
See your name on the honours board, of course.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, everyone who comes to Lord makes these really intimate connections with the ground, where once you go there, it just becomes a part of you. And every time you walk in, you're still overwhelmed by that same feeling of awe and history.
We saw our share of sore runners around these parts, aching muscles, but already many of them are talking about coming back next year. That is how we conclude this edition of Beyond the Game. Some more thrilling pictures to show you. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Beyond the Game, brought to you by Turkish Airlines.